Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch up on all things Liverpool and your daily reminder that you are, in fact, a fan of the champions. Standing in for Brother Hendrik, I am Trev Downey, and I'm glad to be filling in for Dave again today because there's lots going on, so we can just start trolling through the usual sources. But just before we do, I mean, it's hard to know even where to start. I think let's get this one out of the way quickly because you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't with this particular story involving Mr. Trent Alexander-Arnold, because some people will do me down for saying that I'm interested in following what's going on with this and why do we care, and those who actually want to defend Trent will say don't be critical of him ever, and so on and so forth. It's hard enough to know where to land with this, but I would say that it's very, very interesting to follow the let's say the trend of this story so far, because the best part of it so far for me was listening to Trent giving his acceptance speech in Spanish, in a way that didn't sound like your average stuttering, stammering Spanish. Sounded as if he might well have been familiarizing himself with the language for a little while. So let's have a listen to this.
Florentino Perez como al Club Real Madrid por esta oportunidad. Fichar por un club como Real Madrid no sucede todos los días.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I've been doing the old Duolingo for a while now with the Spanish, and I love accents and I love a language. He's pretty much nailing it there. It's not bad at all, I think. We'd have to say it does suggest a certain type of familiarity with the language that might have had to have been prepared in advance. And this is Anfield, in fact, unless I'm mistaken, have gone with Trent's toxic goodbye, Taint's legacy after a season that showed his best and worst. Really good, that one. Liverpool.com have also led with this story. So you can forgive us for spending a little bit of time on it today. Again, I know it's very triggering for a lot of people. They don't want to hear it. They prefer to just, forget about it if they've decided he's a bad lad, and they'd prefer to just say nice things if they're a Trent forever type person. I think most of us are kind of in the middle, a little bit disappointed the way it all panned out. Not necessarily wishing him ill or anything like that, but definitely just not caring anymore, which is why I'm a bit self-conscious about even doing this story. But like I say, all the big websites are doing it. We'll just click on what Liverpool.com have to say here, because that just happens to be the one I'm over. And yes, a lot of people getting a bit of mileage out of the whole Trent 12 thing as well. You'd have to be a bit slow in the uptake not to see that Brand 66 has pivoted quite strongly to brand Trent in this new iteration of his career at Real Madrid. And you know what? Let's just put it this way. I think the best thing that I can say is I look forward to Trent playing for Real Madrid at Anfield. And maybe we'll just leave it at that, because I'm not sure I have a whole lot more to say on young Alexander-Arnold, to be perfectly honest. In terms of the other stories doing the rounds on Liverpool.com, what else have we got? Oh, yeah, they've got an Andy Robbo story, which I think is very interesting and we should probably give a listen to. I'm not sure if you've heard the latest, but he did a bit of an interview there with someone, I presume it's whilst on Scotland duty, although he is wearing an AR-26 top and he's talking about his holidays. But let's just listen to this Robbo interview and you can tell me what you think of it afterwards, or I'll tell you what I think of it rather. Here we go.
Just on those guys that you're linked with, I'm not going to ask you specifically about speculation, but Florian Wirtz is a name that keeps coming up and linked with the club for quite some time now. If you cast your mind back to last year, first game of the Euros, you got the chance to play against him. Just how special a player do you think he is and how tough an opponent is he?
He was excellent against us. I do remember that. Obviously, that game was extremely tough for us, but he was excellent. He was the one causing us problems in the half space, running him behind. He can mix it up. So I haven't seen too much of him, but I've played against him, and I think that was enough to me to see that he was going to be, a top player. And then obviously we played Bayer Leverkusen in Champions League this year as well, and I think we dominated that game a bit more, and it was probably a bit more difficult. But certainly in the German team against us, he was excellent. So, like you said, it looks as if we certainly are linked with him. That's for sure. You can't miss it. You can't not see it. But if we get him through, then an exciting talent through the door. We've already got a lot of exciting talent in there, and he's a right good player, and he'll only help us. And if he does get through the door, then we'll be excited to play for him.
Eden Hazard or
Right, I've made a complete balls of that, as you can hear, and I played the Florian Wirtz clip, which was the second one I was going to play, but it doesn't really matter. We'll get to that in a second. So there we have Robbo on Wirtz. Now, what you don't get across, well, maybe you do, those of you who are very, very good hearing, is that when he's smiling at the end there, while he's talking, you can't really, it's hard to pick up on audio, but he's smiling when he says, something along the lines of when we sign him, or when he looks like he's going to, we're linked with him. So again, just yet another little small piece of reassurance for those people whose heads have gone with regards to Florian Wirtz, because it has taken an awful lot out of some people. That's for sure. And I feel a bit sorry for folks, because we've had these things dangle in front of us before. I think it's a bit dismissive to be totally like, oh, trust the process, and what's wrong with you, and sneering at people who are a bit impatient. But similarly, if you've gone the far side and you're like FSG out, this club is a joke. If you're in that bracket, I can't be with you either. So yet again, Downey's paddling in the middle ground, looking around and not getting too excited about anyone or anything. Here's the thing, making up my own mind about stuff. And I just don't have a very strong opinion yet on whether it's definitely not going to happen or definitely going to happen. I can look at the cumulative evidence, and it looks very much like it will. And I think that is a remarkable thing, and I hope it will. And I hope it'll happen sooner rather than later. I did even hear a rumor that it might be announced today, but I think that's people doing a bit of sort of wish fulfillment, because they'd like to have it go against the Trent thing. But anyway, look, it is what it is. We'll see whether it works out or not in that regard. But what was interesting to me was Robbo also talked about his own future at the club, which I thought was a very interesting clip. He's asked directly whether there's been any discussions and so on and so forth. Let me play you this one.
I thought there's a lot's kind of been made of your role for the upcoming season and perhaps your future beyond that. Of course, going into the final year of your contract at Liverpool. Have you had any discussions yet? Is that something you would like to do, to stay at Liverpool beyond this season?
We have discussed, of course we have. The club have been, we've had good discussions, me and the club, but what the future holds, I'm not sure. All I know is tomorrow I fly off on holiday, and it's well needed, and I need a rest from after, a long season. And then, I look forward to pre-season. That's all my focus is. I can't look too far ahead. I don't, I've never have done that, so I'm not going to start doing that now. I know the position I'm in. I know I've only got a year left and things like that. A lot's getting spoke about, a lot's getting said, but my pure focus is, focusing on being a dad for the next couple of weeks and enjoying that time with the kids, and then I'll try and come back in the best shape possible for pre-season, and then we'll see what the future holds when the decisions come.
All right. So there you go. I mean, it's classic footballer speak. It is exactly what you expect. I'm focused on doing my job, on my attitude, my interest is currently where I am, etc. And we'll see what happens. I think that's absolutely fair, and I do think it's going to come down to whether the club can make Robbo any assurances around appearances, because that kid is, I say kid because I'm as old as dirt, so I can, so don't call me on it. He's too good to not be playing football, is what I would say. We can judge him by our standards of what it requires to be left back for champions of England and potential champions of Europe. But then you just think about Robbo as a player in general, and would he be really good, a real addition to other teams, and where he mightn't be just quite so under pressure all the time, or where the shape of the team might suit him better, or whatever it happens to be. And, that's a whole different ball game. He will want to play football. He deserves to play football and have a successful end to his career, just as he's had this luminous sort of early to mid section of his career. And I'd love that for him. And if it's at Liverpool contributing to the ongoing success under Arne Slot, happy days. You won't find any grumbling from me on that. But one of him or Costas will have to go, assuming the Kirkes deal gets done. And that's another one, you know. These boys, Frimpong and himself, are ridiculously flirtatious social media types. And Kirkes has all but said in about 7 different ways that he will end up at Liverpool. So again, it's just we're in that little grey area where people are getting upset about whether or not it will happen. But I think it's very, very likely. And I look forward to seeing what that's going to be like. You know, I was talking to Dave Davis there briefly this morning, and I was kind of, I wonder, does that mean, well, say Robbo does move on, I wonder, does that mean that maybe Costas might start the season? Because one or other, I'd imagine, will be kept. It would be a bit weird if we cleared both out. And, you know, while Kirkes is getting up to speed, we've seen it now several times with left backs, will there be someone who knows the system there while the other man is learning the ropes? Interesting. Will be interesting to watch. And maybe if Robbo thought he could start the season, maybe that would be enough for him to think, well, I'll just keep plodding on here, which would be fair enough, you'd have to say. There was another little story brought to my attention by Dave Davis that I wanted to link with you today. What the hell was that again? Oh my God. The Ibu Konate thing. I hope Dave won't mind me talking at school. He just shared a thing with me that I wanted to talk to you about. I think it's like fairly public knowledge, or it's a kind of a post on some social media or other. I don't know if it's Facebook or it's Insta or what the hell it is, but it's Ibu saying, what a season. Thank you to all the fans for the love and support this year. You've been amazing from start to finish. It's been a great season for me in the club. So many special moments. And of course, winning our 20th Premier League title, unforgettable. Now, it's time to rest, enjoy the holidays, and come back even stronger. And you, the fans, because we'll need your energy and voice as well. Next season, we go again. And he's got a YNWA at the end there. Now, I read that when Dave showed to me, and I found myself in the same position as you are probably listening to it. That means he's staying. And I'm excited about that possibility. But, you know, the interest from other clubs is real. And there is no finality around the contract yet. And there is no certainty or announcement or nothing of that ilk. So I feel like we're still a little bit up in the air. Ibu Konate is certainly making the right sounds as well. I like that. But, I mean, why wouldn't you want to stay with Liverpool, right? The only reason you wouldn't want to stay with Liverpool is if there is an emotional pull somewhere and we're told that PSG is his team. Or if there is a financial reason and you feel like you're not being rewarded or compensated in a way that reflects your status and ability. And that is really what's on the table when it comes to this period of time when contracts are being negotiated and wrangling is continuing. Just one more story then on Liverpool.com. Liverpool may be forced into a Jarell Quansah $54 million rethink. I don't know why there's dollars here. Let's just have a look at this. We've rounded up the main reports, says Michael Plant, on Jarell Quansah's future as Bayer Leverkusen begins making plans for Florian Wirtz money. Where's the Wirtz money, John? Of course, Jarell Quansah is involved here. So this story by Michael Plant on Liverpool.com. Jarell Quansah found himself embroiled in the latest Liverpool transfer saga on Wednesday as reports surrounding his future dominated national media headlines and social media discussion. Reports linking the defender with a move to Bayer Leverkusen began last week when it was claimed he could be useful as a make-weight in the deal to bring Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. Harvey Elliott was another name mentioned as a possible player of interest to Leverkusen, but these reports have since dried up.
The Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.